I'll never forget the moment everything changed. The moment I stood at the door, suitcase in hand, ready to walk away from the life I had built with sweat, sacrifice, and love. My heart pounded as my wife's voice rang out behind me. "What the hell are you doing?" she yelled, her tone laced with anger. Not regret, not guilt. Just anger. I turned to face Maria, the woman I had once adored, and met her fiery glare with cold, unwavering resolve.
"I'm done. But let's rewind.
How did we get here? How did a love story that began with passion and promise unravel into deceit and betrayal? Maria and I met at a business conference in Zurich years ago. She was everything I admired: intelligent, poised, driven. At the time, I was immersed in my career in luxury hospitality, working long hours and barely making time for personal relationships. But Maria changed that. She was a rising star in finance, and together, we were unstoppable, a power couple. We spent our early years traveling the world, sipping champagne at exclusive parties, and basking in the admiration of friends who envied our perfect relationship. But perfection is often an illusion. The cracks started appearing slowly, almost imperceptibly. First, it was the long hours, then the emotional distance. At first, I thought it was just work stress, but soon, I started to see the shift in her demeanor, her guarded expressions, her secretive phone calls, the way she suddenly became possessive over her phone. Then, one evening, my suspicions became undeniable. I had planned a surprise dinner after returning early from a business trip. As I set the table, I noticed her phone buzzing incessantly on the counter. Curiosity got the better of me, and I glanced at the screen. A message from someone named Luca. "I miss you. Can't wait to see you again." My stomach dropped. My hands trembled as I scrolled through the thread. The texts were intimate, familiar, inside jokes, stolen moments, plans to meet. My mind raced. Was I overreacting? Was this just harmless flirtation? But deep down, I knew. I felt it in my bones. When Maria walked in, her face lit up at the sight of the dinner I had prepared. But now, that smile felt fake. Forced. We ate in silence, an unspoken war brewing between us. Over the next few weeks, I became a ghost in my own home, watching, listening, piecing together the truth. She had become secretive, guarded, too rehearsed when I asked simple questions. Then, the final nail in the coffin came when I found an unfamiliar scarf draped over the chair in our bedroom. Expensive, luxurious, and most definitely not hers. When I confronted her, she denied it. At first. Then, the truth cracked through the facade. I was lonely. Lonely. After everything we had built together? After all the sacrifices I had made for our future? Her words hit like a sledgehammer. So, this was my fault now? I didn't beg. I didn't scream. I simply made a decision. For days, I planned my exit. I packed slowly, methodically. I even rehearsed my final words in my head. Maria thought everything was fine, oblivious to the fact that I had checked out of the relationship emotionally long before I would physically leave. On a crisp Saturday morning, while she was out with her colleagues, I made my move. The house was eerily silent as I zipped up my last bag. Every corner of that home held memories. Good ones, bad ones, moments that once meant everything but now felt like relics of another lifetime. And then she walked in. Her heels clicked against the hardwood floor as she entered the room. She froze when she saw the suitcase by the door, the half-empty closet, the hollow look in my eyes. "You can't just leave," she spat, desperation creeping into her voice. "No, Maria. You made your choices. And now I'm making mine." Tears welled in her eyes, but they didn't move me. I had loved her once, deeply. But now, all I felt was a hollow emptiness. The pain of betrayal had burned away every last ounce of affection. She started to argue, to justify, but I wasn't interested in hearing excuses. I had spent too many nights lying awake, wondering where she was, wondering if the person I loved even existed anymore. The answer was clear now: she didn't. I walked past her, suitcase in hand, as she grabbed my arm. "Wait. We can talk about this." I pulled away, shaking my head. "There's nothing left to talk about." I left, slamming the door behind me, stepping out into the crisp morning air. I expected to feel grief, regret, some kind of sorrow for what I was leaving behind. But as I stood there, taking a deep breath, I felt something else. Relief. Because sometimes, the hardest part isn't the betrayal itself. It's realizing that you deserve more than the lies. I took one last look at the house, the woman I had once called my wife, and then I stepped forward, toward a future where I would never again settle for anything less than the love and loyalty I deserved. And that, more than anything, was the sweetest victory of all.